Another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
All right, fam, what's going on? Welcome back to Shifting the Culture podcast. I'm your host, brother King Cam, and we are here with another powerful episode where we speak truth to power, elevate the people, and challenge the narrative. So what I need everybody to do on social media who is watching, we was having some technical difficulties earlier, so we had to restart the live, but we need everybody to make sure that you like, subscribe, smash that like button, make sure that you hit the bell, stay notified each and every time that we drop a video so that we can build our community up on YouTube, as well as the Facebook family. I need you to like and share. I need Twitter to retweet, and Instagram. We always send the clips to your way. So what we want to do tonight is jump straight into some of the different news that's been going on in the community. Trying to get my articles together over here. One of the biggest things is, okay, here we go. One of the biggest things, as you know, 3 weeks in is the Diddy trial. You know, Sean, Puffy, Combs, 3 weeks into the trial. One of the questions that we wanted to pose was, should Diddy take the stand in his own defense? Now, I've been following the trial pretty much since the beginning, and I have been listening to and, getting recaps of all of the testimonies from all the witnesses that have been called and things like that. So the most recent set of witnesses was, I believe, the police chief, a police officer, security guard, the stylist. You had the assistant and Capricorn Clark, and then you also had a lady by the name of Mia. And, they went through all of those different testimonies and things like that. And I believe Mia was... her testimony was yesterday. I believe Mia's testimony was yesterday. And, Brian still made it his business to try to destroy her credibility in her testimony. And, I'm listening, and not just with her testimony, but with all of the testimony, and just trying to hear, outside of the domestic violence stuff and obviously the obvious domestic violence between Diddy and Cassie, right? That's so obvious that we don't even have to talk about it. That's obvious. That's obvious. So it's nothing to even discuss. When you look at that tape and you hear her testimony, that goes together, right? That goes together. We can substantiate that. We can take that to the bank as happening. The problem with everything else that we're hearing, though, is that you're hearing the lack of substantiating or supporting evidence to go with these claims. You hear claims from Kid Cudi or from Capricorn Clark, but you're not having supporting evidence. And all of the time that you see court cases play out, there's always supporting evidence to go along with just claims. Eyewitness testimony is not enough to convict somebody. Eyewitness testimony, even if you're putting together a completely circumstantial case without having a smoking gun, right? Without having a body, without having a smoking gun, if you're putting together a completely circumstantial case, you still have more than just eyewitness testimony. You still have more than that. You have, so for example, if you are trying a murder, the prosecutors are trying to murder, and you say that this person is the one guilty, they were the last person seen with the victim, right? Their phone logs show that this was the last person they were in contact with before the victim was deceased. Then you have the victim who was strangled to death and then taped and put in the back of a vehicle and taken to a remote location. And then the person that you have as the suspect or the person of interest, they don't have an alibi for that time frame in which the victim may have been deceased. And then they have video footage of them going into a store, getting duct tape and getting rope. And there's the receipt that was found in the vehicle of that person. See, now when there's an eyewitness testimony to say, hey, I saw him leaving the house, or I saw him over there earlier that day, the suspect, him or her, then the supporting evidence is everything that I just mentioned: the rope, the receipt, the video footage, the phone calls, right? You have all of these different things that help support the eyewitness testimony. We don't have a lot of that in this particular case with Diddy. You're not really having a lot of that supporting evidence. So it's kind of it's what we want to do is we want to wait. We want to wait until we can get that. But we're waiting. Is my point. We're waiting, and that's where we at with that for right this second. So. Suge Knight I guess they did an interview or whatever from Suge in jail, and they were asking him, I believe they was questioning him about the trial, and he said that Diddy should testify in his own trial. He should testify. And Suge said that the reason why Diddy should testify is because it'll help humanize him. And I agree with Suge on that. I believe when it come down to it, he has to take the stand, because if he doesn't take the stand, then he leaves it open for interpretation of who he is. And he should definitely, if he is going to try to make a case for his innocence, he definitely needs to talk about his life. He needs to open up about his life, about his trauma, because all black people in America got trauma. Diddy's not excluded from that. So talk about his childhood. Like I heard on Breakfast Club, they said they need to open up the whole biopic on Diddy, from his life, starting from childhood trauma, losing his best friend, all of that kind of stuff. People need to know all of these different things because it'll help piece together who he actually is and what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly, just like Cassie was a victim and other people who were victims, Diddy was a victim too of the circumstances of this world, trauma. I'm not saying he's a victim in this. I'm saying he's a victim of, the trauma that could lead to drug addiction, alcohol addiction, things like that, personality disorder, all of those different things. So he needs to get his self on the stand and get ready to start telling it all. I think that's important if he's trying to really make a case for himself, because if not, you leave it open to interpretation, and the media is already doing a smear campaign against your character. So to me, good legal advice would say you have to get on the stand and let them know that you're not the monster that the media is making you out to be, because the media is going to paint you one way. And if you don't put nothing up against that picture, then that's the only picture that they have. And that same picture is going to be the same picture that the jurors have. That's just real. I was listening to somebody break down the Mia testimony today, and one thing he talked about was the fact that Diddy was very engaged in his defense. He's talking to his lawyers. He telling them, hey, look at this. He passing notes. He doing all that kind of stuff. But the principle in it was that you have to be just as involved, if not more involved. You have to know more about your case than your lawyers know about your case. You have to know more about your case and be invested more in your freedom than your lawyers are invested in your freedom. Because at the end of the day, the only person that truly cares about you getting out is yourself and your family. But the lawyers, you paying them. And they got other clients that's paying them too. So they're not going to be able to dig into the case the way that you would be. So you got to dig into your own case. You got to know exactly what's going on. You got to understand the legalities. You got to understand law. You got to understand legal precedent. What was set forth in cases prior to yours that's similar in circumstance. All these things are important. All right? So, saying all of that to say, brother definitely needs to get on the stand and testify in his own trial. Most definitely need to do that. Hit the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about it. But those who just coming in, this is Shifting the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam. Let's make sure that we get a thumbs up. Let's make sure that we smash that like button. Make sure that you hit the bell so you can stay notified every time that we drop a video. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe, and subscribe. Facebook, I need you to smash the like buttons, comment, engage, share it out, and then retweet on Twitter. I need the Twitter family to retweet. So I definitely am agreeing with Suge on that. I definitely think that Suge is absolutely right. You have to humanize yourself because this is a character assassination and a propaganda war. This is a character assassination and a propaganda war. And if you're not putting out your own propaganda, if you're not telling your own story, somebody else will. That's what you see happening right now. So it's important that Diddy get up there and change the narrative of his character and who he is in the public. And it's going to be interesting to see who are the witnesses for the defense. Because right now, the prosecution has had the opportunity to call all their witnesses and present their case first. So it's going to be interesting to see because they're saying that Diddy got witnesses. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes and speaks on his behalf. That's going to be interesting. But what we want to do, family, is we want to transition gears over to Zion. Now, y'all know Zion Williamson is the NBA superstar for the New Orleans Pelicans. And most recently, he has been accused of rape. Okay? And I'm reading an article from the Daily Mail, and it says that porn star Mariah Mills is considering her own Zion Williamson lawsuit after the NBA star was accused of rape. Porn star Mariah Mills has reportedly contacted a famed attorney as she considers filing her own legal action against NBA superstar Zion Williamson. It comes a day after New Orleans Pelican player was accused of rape and physical abuse by a Jane Doe in LA claiming to be his former girlfriend. Mills has made several claims against Williamson in the past, including that they had a sexual relationship in 2023. Now, she also got a video out that we won't speak to right now where she was talking about money and saying that his NBA career is over, and if she don't get no money, then he don't get no money. And what I want to tell the young brothers, right, because you see this happening with Travis Hunter. See, young men have to understand that when you are valuable, you have to know that the target is bigger on your back when you can bring resources to the table, even more so than just the average black man in America. The black man in America is an endangered species. The black man in America is an endangered species, and we have a target on our back anyway. Now, when you add resources, when you add influence, when you add fame, when you add all of these different things, magnetism, charisma, stardom, when you add all of those to the pot, now you have people who are literally looking to prey on you. And what we've been seeing is a trend of women being able to actually come up in life by preying on black men. You literally have women that are saying, I can get a come up by destroying somebody's career, by lying on them. I believe there was a case, there was a case where a woman lied about being raped by a black man. Hold on. But we know that happens all the time. White women do that all the time. They set the precedent. See, legal precedent that I was telling y'all about, that's the precedent that been set. White women been lying on black men anyway and getting them killed. Now, black women doing it and getting the bag for it. Woman lies, let's see, on black man, and he's arrested and run his wife. Now let's see if I can find this. Black man about. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. I just heard somebody talking about it. Oh, here we go. I think this is it right here. False rape report. Is this it? They coming up. But I think this was like a recent one where a black man was accused of rape, and hold on, let's not do this again. Okay. He was accused of rape and was arrested in front of his whole family. Come to find out that it was a whole lie. So you got a lot of these people that's looking and using rape as an opportunity to come up and get a bag. They're using this opportunity as a come up to get a bag. So, homegirl, the porn star, we don't know if she's lying or telling the truth. And nowadays, you can't be too careful. You got to question everything, all motives of all these people. You got to make sure that you question all of these people and what their motives are, what their intentions are. And from that video that porn star sister put out, what's her name? Mariah Mills. She trying to get a check. And brothers, you got to make sure that you on point out here. If just in general, and it ain't even about if you got money or not. You just got to know. You got to watch your back. These women are scandalous out here. And men have to be trained in how to identify scandalous women. Especially in 2025 and beyond, women are not doing anything but connecting themselves to men who got high earning potential so that they can live a particular lifestyle without having to work. That's it. They go to college and they say, I'm gonna get me an athlete. That's how I'm about to make me six figures. Now I ain't about to get no degree. I'm not about to get a trade. I ain't about to do nothing but get with me an athlete. And eventually, if I stay with him long enough, I can divorce him and I can get spousal support and he'll pay me 6 figures a year. 5 figures a month. 4 figures a month. Telling you, this how they thinking now. And they seeing it happen over and over and over and over again. So they saying, this don't work. This right here is a workable deal for me. I can do this. Especially if you look good, you cute, you can get with you an athlete. And then they praying on some of that, especially with the athletes. And not so much with the entertainers, but if you look at the Travis Hunter situation, and I'm not picking on Travis Hunter, but Travis Hunter is a very talented brother on the football field. He may not be that talented with the women. The character, the charisma may not be there. The talk game may not be there. You know what I'm saying? He's still in college. He might not. He was in college, might not have that much experience with talking to different women. And because what's the best way to put this? Because I don't even know the best way to put it. May not have the most self-esteem when it comes to his looks, right? Might not have the best self-esteem when it comes to the looks. Because he may be struggling in that department. Any woman, especially if she look good, pretty exotic looking joint like his wife, they give him that attention, he's gonna be head over heels for her. You understand? And she knows this. Now remember, it had came out earlier in the year that Travis Hunter's girlfriend wasn't even, attracted to him at first. And she kind of had to be like talked into being attracted to him. Remember that now. So that's a thing. So you got a lot of black men that suffer from that aspect of things as well. And then you have the Zion Williamson thing where, again, you get with a woman on something consensual, and now all of a sudden it's a case. It's a Me Too. And that's not to downplay or disparage any of the victims who are telling the truth and actually have been victimized. But the problem with this whole situation is it now muddies the water for those who are actually been victims. It muddies the water for those who've actually been victims. So, homegirl putting out videos on Zion too, like on TikTok. You just seen what happened with the tranny and Boss Man D-Lo. Talking about I was bored, so I just made up a lie that Boss Man D-Lo was in my DMs, and then I photoshopped all of the text messages. Like, seriously? It's just cool to lie on people now? But this is the world that we live in, family. So you can't believe nothing of what you hear, and only a little bit of what you see. All right? So for those that are just coming in, listen, it's your brother King Cam. This is Shifting the Culture podcast, family. We want to welcome you in. I don't know what's going on with the internet. I don't know what's going on. But this was happening last week too. Like everything was lagging. And I'm connected. And all of that, but everything was just lagging for some reason. So I don't know why it's doing that again this week. So we had to figure that out. We might have to go. May have to go strong Ethernet cord. Might have to go Ethernet cord and get off the Wi-Fi for a second. But anyway. So now we want to transition over into the young sister from California who won a state title in track, but then had the title taken away from her because she celebrated. High school track star stripped of state title over celebration stunt that copied Olympic gold medalist, bro. So you got a young black sister, California high school track stars post-race celebration that paid homage to an Olympic gold medalist, resulting in her disqualification and the stripping of her state championship title by outraged officials. And this is what I hate. How do officials get to come in and now regulate if you're able to celebrate or not? This celebration wasn't egregious. It wasn't taunting. She wasn't in anybody's face. She didn't do it pre her actually winning, so she actually won before the celebration, right? So how do the officials get to come in now and strip her of her title, all because she celebrated what she worked so hard to achieve? I mean, people work hard all the time People work hard all week and they celebrate by going out on Friday or going out on Saturday. People work hard in their business. They accomplish a goal. They may have a celebration. People work hard in anything that they do, and when they accomplish it, they want to celebrate. Why is that frowned upon when black people do it, specifically in sports? Because this is the first time that you got officials or people who work in an official capacity complaining about celebrations or taunting or all of that kind of stuff when you are competing in a competitive sport. When you are literally competing in a competitive sport, why is it that you can't celebrate? Why can't you? When you are best in a team, you can't show them that you best in the team. I mean, that's the whole purpose of people putting time in, putting work in, practicing and going over drills and doing all that kind of stuff. The purpose is so that you can go out and defeat your opponent. And if you defeat your opponent handily, then you can be able to celebrate. Even if you don't defeat them handily, you should still be able to celebrate. You seen everybody just talking about the Knicks and the Pacers series and how they kept doing Tyrese Halliburton kept doing the choking sign that Reggie Miller did 20 years ago when the Knicks choked in the series and let the Pacers come back. There's nothing wrong with that because because the Knicks did choke back then. And they dropped the ball in this conference finals. So you can't get upset because somebody is taunting you on something you actually did. But in this particular situation, sis won't even taunting nobody. She had literally won the race. She was by herself, and she did a celebration on herself, by herself, that didn't affect nobody. And it says, North Salinas High School sophomore Clara Adams had just crossed the finish line as the winner of the 400 meters at Buchanan High in Clovis on Saturday when the excited teen ran over to her father to celebrate, the Mercury News reported. Her proud father, David, handed his daughter a fire extinguisher and away from her competitors, she sprayed on her shoes as if they were on fire. However, the moment was quickly extinguished by California Interscholastic Federation officials who view Adams' actions as unsportsmanlike and disqualify her. And if you go back and look at the race, she probably beat up on some white girls. If we was to look at the video, I'm pretty sure this is in California. No, see, the one of the girls, second place girl was a black girl. But I bet you if we go and look at the whole race, there's some white girls in there. There's probably a white school, and they don't like the fact, it's white people there because you see this white man right here in the crowd. And he there looking at his daughter get beat. So the black girl win, and here we go. What, you gonna snatch the title? Because she sprayed her shoes off with the fire extinguisher, showing homage to Olympic gold medalist who said his shoes was on fire. There's nothing wrong with that. Her shoes were on fire. Why you mad? You big mad because her shoes were on fire and she beat you. And I guarantee you, probably some of them officials had a child out there that got whooped. Your child got dragged and you mad. And you going to try and take it out on another child because your child's slow. You mad because they cleats ain't on fire, so you going to take it out on another child. Or you mad you didn't think about that as a celebration, so you mad. They done bested you in celebrations. But, white people don't never want to see black people celebrate. They don't never want to see you win. They don't never want to see you outdoing them. Anyway, so they're going to come up with any excuse to try to diminish any type of black confidence. This is about black confidence. This ain't about anything else, but this is about a young black woman exuding confidence. They don't want black people to be confident in anything other than being a slave. You be confident in that. See, when you bucking your eyes and bucking your teeth, shucking and jiving, stepping and fetching, they don't got no problem with you doing that. You can do that all day. You don't hear them talk about stepping fetches. Oh, you doing too much buck dancing. They don't ever say that. They don't ever say you bucking your eyes too much. Calm down. But the moment like a Deion Sanders or a Shador Sanders is standing upright and confident, they got a problem with that. The moment that this sister right here, Clara Adams, is upright and confident, they got a problem with that. They had a problem with Michael Irvin in the Miami Hurricanes when they were whooping up on college football opponents in the 80s. They had a problem with that. They made a whole tape on celebrations and why you can't celebrate. And it was all Miami Hurricanes, and they used unsportsmanlike conduct as the reason for them doing that and try to institute policies and fines and all of that different type of stuff. Why? Because you had this majority black team whooping on everybody, whooping on Notre Dame, whooping on Nebraska. See, remember, these college football teams was the establishment back then. Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oklahoma. You understand? That was mostly white teams. So when Miami come through with all the brothers putting it down, killing them boys on the field, and then taunting on them, then they mad. Now they mad. Oh, now it's unsportsmanlike conduct. See, but they just upset. They really just don't like to see black confidence. That's what this is about. So now the girl feeling all distraught and destroyed, which she should be because she worked hard. She couldn't even compete in the 200. She probably would have won the 200. Like, we definitely should support the father because he's the coach. He's her coach. He's her mentor and the father, present father. See, this is a beautiful situation. You got a present black father. When they say black father is absent, you got a present black father in his daughter's life, being a positive role model, being in her life, helping her to grow and develop, and then you gonna steal this moment from them over some fire extinguisher and some cleats. But this is white supremacy for you. And this is why we gotta fall back on the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as exemplified by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and do for ourselves. We gotta stop thinking that white people gonna accept us no matter how good you are. No matter how you play by the rules, no matter how much you color in the lines, they always gonna have some hate in their heart for us and trying to stop us from actually being great. And that's just real. That's just real talk. So you even got the Olympian that she paid homage to. You even got him. Maurice Green. It says, what Maurice said. He said, when I heard cause it happened, and then people just started calling me. This girl who just ran the 400 did your celebration. I was like, huh? What? Green told the outlet. The sprinter who took home the gold for the U.S. in the 100-meter and 4-time 100-meter relay, in the 4x100 relay, at the 2000 Sydney Olympics, said he feels like the CIF officials should reconsider their decision. If it was away from everyone and not interfering with anyone, I would say reinstate her, the Olympian said. And that's what it was. She was away from people. She wasn't in no other runner's face. She wasn't trying to stunt. She didn't do it on the track. She did it off the track, away from people. Like, but see, these are the things, the underhanded things that they do to try to undermine any type of black confidence. They don't want black people feeling confident about anything. And that's why they work so hard to regulate sports, regulate your ability to speak. This is why they violate your constitutional right on a daily basis of freedom of speech, because they want to control what you say. And then cancel culture has crept in to help them with that regulation of the things that you say in your violation of your constitutional rights. I was having a conversation today with somebody where the government violates the constitutional rights of Americans, not just black people, but Americans on a daily basis. There should be 1,000 cases up there in Supreme Court on constitutional rights being violated by the United States government. But half of us don't even read the U.S. Constitution to even know if it's being violated or not. You just going by what somebody tell you. But the government violates the Constitution on a daily basis. And now this young sister worked so hard for that. And even if they give her the title back, I watched an interview with her and her father. Even if they give them the title back, she don't get an opportunity to stand up there and receive her medal and go through the whole process as a champion gets to do. But guess what? I'm not upset about that in a particular to a certain degree, because I understand what this is. So because I understand what this is, I don't get upset about it, because I know the enemy. And when I know the enemy, you can't expect him to do anything but be the arch deceiver that he is. The scripture says that Satan deceived the whole world, and he is the arch deceiver. He is your open enemy, as the Holy Quran says. Open enemy. He's not a closed enemy. He's not behind the scenes. He's not hiding. He's your open enemy. And we're going to continue to see this until we put him in proper perspective. We got to put the enemy in proper perspective, black folks, black America. Now, I know you got white friends, and I know you don't want to offend your white friends. But this ain't offending them. If it's a history, if this the truth, it shouldn't offend them. But if they really your friends, they should go to their white buddies and address the issues that we talk about here with their white buddies. And say, hey, man, I heard this on Shifting the Culture. Is this true? Why would you do this? If they're not willing to do that, they're not really your friend. And then you got to put them in their proper place. So I know y'all got white friends. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what you like to do. But we got to understand that we are in this war, and that this is where this is where we got to draw the line in the sand. All right? So I'm in the process of reading Hip Hop Conspiracy. This right here, this bad boy is getting intense, and I haven't even gotten into, who runs hip hop and all that kind of stuff. But we get into the CIA operationalizes hip hop, and we go off of the springboard of what former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton mentioned, that hip hop is a multi-dimensional chess piece that they use, that the U.S. government uses. And that's something that we got to look at. Then when we look at U.S. politics, and we see, especially within the last 10 years, how they've infused hip-hop into political campaigns. We just seen in the last presidential election where Kamala Harris was running for president, where they literally was pulling artists out of nowhere. They had Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Beyonce, all these Democrats pulling all these, Usher, they just pulling all these artists from out, Stevie Wonder and Madonna, and they just pulling them and bringing them on the campaign trail. They performing and endorsing candidates and all of these different type of things. Plies. You got all these artists. Right? And we have to ask ourselves, why is hip-hop and politics so important? But when we go all the way back to the inception of hip-hop in the late 70s, then we'll learn that hip-hop was a social and political tool that helped shape the frame of the culture, and it was an outlet for us to discuss the injustices and the oppression that was taking place in our community that nobody was talking about. See, Rodney King was in 1993, but there was Rodney Kings way before 1993. There was just nobody who was listening. Nobody knew. There was nobody putting that message out. There was nobody talking about what the police was doing when they came into our communities. But when Ice Cube and NWA started talking about what was happening in the community, then hip-hop became of the highest importance to the U.S. government, because it started to inform the people, educate the people of what was really taking place. And now the people were being able to stand up and to fight back. That was one of the tools that we was using to fight back against systematic oppression and white supremacy. Huh? That's real. So that's what hip hop was. You know, people always love to talk about gangster rap, but gangster rap was originally against the police. It was originally against the police. They was speaking out against the police. That was F the police. That's what that was about. And then you got other groups that was talking about what was going on, what the concerns of our community was, what we were seeing on a daily basis, how our houses were being kicked in unjustly, no warrants. People was being pulled out of vehicles. There was stop and frisk going on. There was all type of things that was taking place that was unjust. Jump out boys. And we can go into Cook County and Chicago PD, and we can get into Atlanta PD and Mad Dog, right? The Mad Dog Task Squad, Task Force, and all of these police forces that was put together that was beating and killing young black people, especially young black men. So when you see what happened to the brother Tyreek Nichols in Memphis, that squad is a continuation of old squads, police squads that don't do anything but terrorize the black community. And now they've modernized it where they get other black people to do it, other black officers. So in the Tyreek Nichols case, where those officers was actually found not guilty, they using black faces now. They using black faces now. But the thing is, they don't use black faces from America. They go have, and they'll hire, you know, Caribbeans and Africans who don't have the same experience with the enemy that black people in America have. And because they don't have the same experience and they have not seen them for who they are, they are a lot easily able to be used as tools, and they're more sympathetic to the enemy because they seek white validation because that's what they was taught. Their parents taught them to seek white validation. If you just do good, if you just submit, if you just do good what white people tell you to do and be good citizens and all this kind of stuff, that's what they used to do back in their home country so that they can escape colonialism. But over here in America, we didn't have the option to do that. We had to stand up and fight. Now you had house Negroes that was doing that, but nobody really cared for no house Negroes like that. It was nobody cared about no house Negroes. House Negroes was seen as sellouts in the community, Sambos, shucking and jiving, chicken joys type of individuals. Nobody cared about no house Negroes. As far as we concerned, field Negro speaking, as far as we're concerned, you are on the equal playing field with the enemy. Once you become a house Negro, you become an open enemy. Unless you become a house Negro and feeding us information so that we can rise up. See? But if that weren't the case, then you were op. In 2025, you were op. You see what I'm saying? So nobody cared about no field Negroes. House Negroes like that. In the same way now, we don't care about no house Negroes now. The ones that sit up in politics, the ones that sit up in entertainment, the ones that sit around and they caping for the open enemy. So like I said, they take these black faces that don't have the same experience with the enemy, that love white people, love white validation, give them a gun and a badge and have them run around here beating up on black people in America when we the ones that been through it the most and know these people and know what's going on. And they get you to carry out their dirty work. And that's the problem. That's why we got to do cleaning up within our own community, because that stuff got to be addressed. Because how we going to fight the big enemy when we got to deal with the minions who getting in our way, who just being used as a tool, because they'll turn on you. When they get finished using you, they're going to turn on you. And that's normally how I go anyway. So the point being, all the way back to the original point, which was the targeting, I believe it was. Y'all help me out in the comments. Like, what was the original point I was making about the field Negroes and the house Negroes and selling out and Tyrese Nichols and law enforcement? Y'all help me out in the comment section. I don't know exactly the point I was getting to. But at the end of the day, this is we have to be able to recognize this stuff that's happening in the community, and then we got to be able to address it. This is called housekeeping. That's all. We gotta do housekeeping. And going back to the sister who had her title taken away, again, they don't want no black confidence, because see, the black confidence can lead into black independence. See, black confidence lead into black independence. And what white supremacy don't want is there being any type of black independence going on. Because once you get to thinking about black independence, then you become a threat to the machine. So, man, we definitely need to petition. I don't know if we need to sign something. I don't know what it is that they need, but we definitely need to make sure that we supporting that sister and helping her get that achievement, helping her at least get her title back, even though she won't have an opportunity to, accept the award. Don't even worry about it though, sis, because what's going to happen is you're going to compete some more, you're going to win some more, and you're going to have more than one opportunity. And I would use that as an opportunity to accept the achievement and the rewards that you got, but never forget. Never forget. Matter of fact, I tell you, talk about it each and every time. I love the way Muhammad Ali used to roll. If you slighted Muhammad Ali, he going to talk about it. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather. I love him. The way he talking trash. If you slighted him, he going to talk about it. This for everybody who didn't believe in me. This for the people who tried to tell me I should have did this. This the ones who said we was going to lose. This the ones who said we was going to get knocked out. Everybody doubted us, but here we are. We standing on top. That's how we be rolling. Every time out, every time we went, boom, yeah, we talking. I remember when they took our state championship away and tried to stop us from our rightful victory after all the hard work that we put in, all the dedication, all the sweat, the blood, the long nights that we put in, all the training that we did to accomplish this. They tried to stop us, but we here. And it's nobody but God. And as DJ Khaled said, God did. So what the devil want to try to stop, God is not going to allow to stop, because what's for me is for me. And can't nobody take it away from me. So as the scripture says, no weapon shall prosper. None. And I don't mean that the weapon not going to jostle us a little bit. That don't mean that the weapon is not going to, rough us up a little bit, beat us up a little bit. But it says that no weapon shall prosper. And then it goes on and further that I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me. So as long as I got the Christ, the black one, long as I got that Christ with me, I can do all things. That's how she should be rolling in the promo game. That's how she should be rolling in the promo game. As long as she doing it like that, I'm going to have no issues. None. So, so I'll keep updating y'all on this hip-hop conspiracy as we move through this book, man. It's got some great information in it, as well as because what we trying to do is we trying to get to the bottom of this hip hop conspiracy and how rap music was weaponized against Black America. So that's the whole purpose of this, and we continuing our education on that, and we just we tapping in that particular situation right there. But other than that, family, man, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down for the night. I certainly appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Join us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at your brother King Cam. And then you can also follow Shifting the Culture Pod on Instagram as well for the new clips, as we put those out on a weekly basis. So we don't have nothing else. But, man, let me know your comments, your thoughts. Comment below. And we look forward to seeing you next week, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. They see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. I'm not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting